Good afternoon. It is New Year's Eve 2023 and I thought I'd take the opportunity to come out on my last wild camp of 2023 and my first wild camp of 2024 in one go. Two birds, one stone. So I'm just come up into my local forest and it is absolutely blissful. It's so quiet. Recently we've been having like loads and loads of rain in this area. Most days we've had tons of high winds and gales and storms, and a lot of the areas of the UK have. But today we're kind of a lot quieter and a lot more calm. So it should be a nice night. I was going to do this on Christmas Eve, but it was gale force winds and I didn't think coming into the forest to camp in gale force winds would be a good idea. So I've had a little wander around. I've kind of thought this bit here is going to be okay. It's not perfect, not by any means, but it's the flattest area I've found so far. I've done a little bit of gardening, clearing out all the branches and things. So yeah, I'm going to get started on putting the tent up. So you probably recognise this. It's the Durston Gear X-Mid 1P. I've not used it for quite a while now. In fact, there's no inner attached to it at the moment. I had to take the mesh inner off and I've got the solid inner with me to swap in now. So I'm going to stick the ground sheet in and the solid inner in, and then I can start and relax a little bit. It is just starting to drizzle a little bit. I don't think there's a great deal of rain forecast tonight, but there's definitely going to be some. So the sooner I can get this done, the better. Well then, that is the tent all set up. Having not used it for a while, it's still easy to put up. It's just when you've not got the inners and the ground sheet attached already, you've got to attach them. It's just a little bit fiddly, especially in the sort of the semi-dusk in the forest. But we got there, and it is still extremely peaceful. You can hear like the odd rumble of engine here and there now and then. And by no means in the middle of the mountains in the wilderness, but it should be tonight a really, really nice, relaxing camp. Fingers crossed. Anything could happen, as usual. That's one of the good things about camping. You never know what's going to happen each night or each day. So I'm going to just spend a little bit of time getting my sleeping gear set up so that I don't have anything to worry about later on while I've still got the daylight. And then I'll probably get myself a drink. just in the nick of time. Everything's set up, all ready to go to sleep, and it is 2 minutes past 4. So I've got some time to kill. The light's pretty much gone. It's pretty dusk. You can still see what you're doing, but I'm glad everything's set up and ready. So there's a few reasons why I love coming up here. One of them is because it's just so easy for me to access. It's right on my doorstep. I can walk up here and be here in an hour's time. Another reason is you could come up here 100 times and just find somewhere different to camp every single time. You just wander off the tracks. There's all these little interlinking forest tracks and paths, so you just wander off them into the trees and just find yourself, like I've found here, part of what I think is an old logging road, a little clearing. It's not the flattest of pitches, but it's certainly going to be enough for me tonight. I brought myself 2 sleeping pads tonight. I wasn't sure what the temperatures were going to be like, so I've got a foam pad, and then I've got my Neo Air X-Lite on top of it. And I mean, the other thing is with places like this, I love camping on a mountain top with a beautiful view, or by a stream, or by a gorgeous lake, but there is something, and I can't describe what it is, there is something about camping in the forest, being surrounded by all these beautiful trees, and just seeing like the daylight through the tops of the trees, and then when the stars, if the stars come out, and the moon, it's relaxing and it's peaceful. And if you've never tried it before, I really urge you to try it. You don't have to have an expensive tent and expensive gear. When the summer comes round, when the weather warms up a bit, grab yourself a tent and a sleeping bag and get out and use it. New Year's resolution for some of you. So I'm going to make myself a drink. I'm getting a bit peckish as well. I've been inspired by Mark from A Trick of the Trail. That's his YouTube channel. He's always got a steak with him when he's camping. He's a pretty good cook, I'll give him that. He's a very good cook. So I've got myself, not steak tonight, but it was kind of last minute this trip, to be honest. So I grabbed some sausages, and I've got some bagels to go around the sausages. And I'm looking forward to getting them going later on. But right now, I think I'm going to get myself a hot drink going. So 1-person tents are great for saving weight and pack size, but if you're out on multi-day trips, you've got to try and take into account how long you're going to be spending in your tent, because it is quite cosy in here. Like if it was lashing it down outside, yes, I'd have the porches, I'd have a porch on either side, and that's one of the great things about this tent. It's got 2 huge porches on it. But there's not a great deal of room inside your tent. If you want all your gear in there, it's not going to happen. Well, I got my hot chocolate. That was very nice. It was extremely sweet, actually. Salted caramel hot chocolate. And it has just started. I've had to retreat into the tent. I was just mooching around outside. But I've had to retreat in the tent because it started raining quite steady. So I'm sure it'll pass shortly. Good evening, folks, and a Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you've all had a fantastic holiday season, a great Christmas, and a great 2023. Here's hoping everyone has a fantastic 2024, whatever you've got planned. As you can see, I've got my fairy lights out. There is a reason for it. Anyone who's watched the channel or anyone who's seen any of my videos over the time will probably notice that recently I passed the 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, which I just have no words for. Basically, I never ever thought I would get there. It never even occurred to me when I put my first few videos up that that would happen, and I guess thank you to everybody who's watched, liked, subscribed, disliked, commented, shared, whatever you've done. Thank you so much. It means the world, it really does. Everyone says that, but to get to 1,000 subscribers is pretty special, I've got to admit, and it doesn't mean that I'm rich. Anyone who is around that mark with subscribers and has seen the revenue you get, no, there's no way I'm quitting my full-time job. So basically I started the channel just to try and give some advice to people, to try and show people some of the trails I was doing, review some gear and show you all some cool sights, hopefully, and I really do hope that at least one or two of you out there have been inspired to get out there and do something similar yourself. Either do one of the hikes that I've done on my channel or one of the other hikes that you've seen somewhere else. I really don't know what to say. I don't script any of the videos, so I guess thank you very much once again. A big thank you as well to Mark from A Trick of the Trail. I did meet him this year. He's become quite a good friend, and I'm hoping for a couple more adventures with him in the new year. But if you've not seen his channel, go and check it out. He's put some brilliant videos up recently. An excellent one recently on a snowy wild camp on Kinder Scout. That looked freezing, but it really does get you in a Christmas mood. Brilliant video. Yeah, so 2023 has been a cool year for me. Really nice trip on the West Highland Way. Some new gear, new drone, which I've really been enjoying using, but not carrying around with me. takes a bit of logistics to carry it around. But yeah, getting some good footage with that and enjoying using it, if worrying myself a few times by almost crashing it or losing it. I've had a fantastic trip, of course, on the GR11, which I'm still doing the videos for. Sorry I'm putting out so many on it, but I basically want to do them for myself. I'm greedy like that. I want to be able to look back in a few years' time and remember where I was at certain points. So I hope at least some of you are enjoying seeing the scenery and following along with, if not that trip, some of the others. I am going to bid you adieu for the night, or for now anyway. I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm going to get my sausage sandwich going, I think. It is still raining and it is pretty cold now. I've been sat in the tent. And here is a quick video on how to burn sausages. I hope you're all paying attention, because I'm doing a very good job of that. So yep, the cooking skills are definitely something to work on in the new year, but looks like it could be edible, so I am gonna crack on with that. Oh, so excuse me. So it's about 8 PM. Had my burnt sausages. They weren't that bad. They were that bad. I'm lying. But it was warm food, so I was quite happy to eat them. Although the tent does now stink of burnt sausage. Nice. So I've just been laying listening to music, basically. I'd forgotten how good a song Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd is. It's so good. Just listening to that with the lights off, just absolutely pitch black. It was beautiful. It stopped raining. The only bit of rain noise you hear is when the wind picks up and it blows the rain off the trees onto the tents. And the wind has actually picked up a little bit more than I thought it was going to tonight, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. But I'm pretty sheltered in the trees. It shouldn't be too bad. So I might have a little snooze now, I think, and see what kind of time I wake up. I don't think I'll sleep through. No doubt I'll wake up somewhere around midnight. Well then, I've just woken up for about the third time maybe. The wind's died down a little bit. It did get pretty gusty at one point. I could hear it rifling through the trees outside. But it is 2:30 on January 1st, 2024. So, let me be the first person to say to you all this year, sausages, and a Happy New Year to everyone, officially. Cheers. Oh, that's cold. That's really cold. Good morning from January 1st, 2024. Slept pretty well on the whole. No strange noises during the middle of the night, no strange lights to report, so that was always good. New Year's Eve, I think I was probably the only idiot up here. So I am pretty hungry. Definitely could use a coffee, so I'm going to get a coffee on the go. One thing I will say for anyone that's starting out camping, or possibly anyone that doesn't use one at the moment, one of the most invaluable pieces of equipment that I've got is a sleeping bag liner. Now, if you're using a down sleeping bag especially, they can be very difficult, expensive, tricky to clean. And every time you use a down sleeping bag without a liner, you're transferring dirt and oils and sweat from your skin onto the down sleeping bag, and it does in time degrade its performance. So if you use a sleeping bag liner, one, it gives you a tiny little bit more warmth, not a great deal, but I've got two. I've got a silk one that's very, very lightweight that I just use in warm temperatures, and I've got a Sea2 Summit Thermalite Reactor, which is a lot heavier weight one, which is what I had with me last night. That adds maybe 2 or 3 degrees warmth. As I say, they're a lot easier to clean. They extend the life and the performance of your down bag, all for a very small penalty in weight. So that is something that I can't remember since I did the PCT in 2019 ever travelling anywhere without. Really good bit of kit. Anyway, yep. Side note passed, and it is time for a hot drink. So this is another piece of kit that I really like using and find it extremely effective. If, like me, you don't do a great deal of cooking, you don't need a prep table or a cooking table. For that reason, I find that the gas canisters, especially the smaller ones, when you've got them on the ground, whether it's level or not, as soon as you get a cooking pot on top of that with some water in, or a pan with some food in, it becomes pretty unstable. And I have had a cup of boiling water go over on me before, mostly due to carelessness, but due to uneven ground as well. This tiny little thing packs down very small, just like that, you can see, and then it folds out to a nice wide tripod. It's got the black slider on there so you can clip your canister in. It clips into these pegs that you see here, so you can use a small canister or a larger canister. It'll take both. And it just gives you a really, really good base, a stable base for cooking on. So yeah, I generally travel with that if I'm going outdoors camping. Nice little piece of kit. And it's very lightweight too. As you can see, it's got quite nice daylight now. Looks like I missed a nice sunrise this morning, but that's, as I said last night, that's what you get for camping in the forest. You do miss out on a few things. I did see some beautiful colours in the sky just through the trees up there earlier, so it was nice to see a glimpse of it. As you can see, I'm midway through packing up. What I'd normally do is just pack the tent up as a whole, but because the outer is so wet, I've decided to take off the inner and pack that separately in my bag to try and keep it a bit more dry, and then I can pack the outer, the wet outer of the tent up and put that on the outside of my bag. Just makes a little bit more sense. It's quite nice when you're only on these one night trips, because you don't have to worry about so much stuff. If you're on a long multi-day trip, you got to try and get stuff dried out and get stuff put back in the right place and things like that, and it doesn't matter so much when you're only out for one night. You're heading home the next day and you can basically just throw stuff back in your bag any which way you like. Usually everything has a place with me, but like I say, on these trips, basically these one night trips, it's nice just to be able to throw a caution to the wind and just ram it all back in the bag, get home, get warm, and sort everything out there. Alright, well, all packed up and ready for the off. The most important thing I can say for beginners is to just have a look at where I was last night. That was where the tent was, and as you can see, I have left nothing at all. There is, I mean, if you passed by here hiking or walking, you probably wouldn't even know that somebody slept in a tent there. So if you are going out camping, doesn't matter where you're going, please abide by the rules of leave no trace. Anything you take in with you, take it back out with you, and just have a bit of respect for the environment. This is one of the things about camping. You can find somewhere, you can spend ages walking around somewhere looking to pitch your tent, and then when you're leaving in the morning, you can walk past somewhere literally about 10 metres away and think, oh, that would have been so much nicer. But it's not like I didn't have a good night where I was. So there's another little stretch there. This is what I mean about coming into the forest. If you just wander off the beaten track, there's always going to be somewhere you can find to pitch your tent. Different experience every time, it's fantastic. That is just beautiful. It's hitting me straight in the face. Just this little beam of light coming through the trees. So that's where I was in there. I've just walked out of there. I was only in there maybe 100, 150 metres or so back. And this is one of the little forest trails. There's already somebody up here with a dog enjoying the morning. And the sun's coming through the trees there. It's been absolutely beautiful this morning. I'm so glad it's not raining. It just tends to sap a bit of the enjoyment out of it when it's raining. So this area just on my right here, that was a little section that I went into last night to try and find somewhere. I wanted to find somewhere on the edge of the clearing. Thought it would have been quite nice, but unfortunately, because it's been felled and machinery's been in there, it was just way too lumpy, and there was too much undergrowth as well. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the walk home for me. I'm going to enjoy it, but I won't let you enjoy it. I guess all it remains to say is thank you much for joining me on this overnight trip on New Year's Eve. I've really enjoyed it, actually. Haven't been out since I got back from the GR11. As I say, thank you for joining me on this trip, and thank you for joining me on previous ones. Again, thank you very much for interacting with the videos and getting me over 1,000 subscribers. It really does mean a lot, and I hope that you'll join me for any future adventures. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Drop a comment on and tell me what your plans for 2024 are. If you've got any hikes, maybe you're going to go and do the GR11 because you saw some English idiot doing it on YouTube. Let me know. Drop them in the comments. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope it's a fantastic one for you all, and happy trails. I can still smell burnt sausage.